All right, next thing for today, we're going to go over the next 4 problems from our beginning of year assessment. For number 9, it was asking what is the value of n in the equation shown. I know it says it twice, it was a bit of a typing error. For this problem, it shows us a visual of 2 different fractions. It shows us 2/3, because this is one big piece and it is cut into sections. So this is 1/3, this is 1/3, this is blank, but it is 1/3. We're including these 2. So this fraction is 2/3. This other fraction is split into a different amount. This is split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sections. So the number of sections that are colored in would be 10 of them. So this is going to be 10/12. So we have 2/3 plus n. N is just kind of a blank space. So it's 2/3 plus blank equals 10/12. In order to find this, you have to set up the problem as 10/12 minus 2/3. Now, you cannot do this problem as it currently is because 12 and 3 are not common denominators. So if you wanted to find the common denominator of 12 and 3, you could simply count by 12s and count by 3s. So starting with the smaller number, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and you would keep going. For 12, we would count 12, 24, 36, and we would keep going. And you would keep going until you find a pair of numbers that match. 12 here, 12 here. So the common denominator for them is going to be 12. That's the number we'll use. This fraction is already a 12, so we don't have to change it. That's going to stay 10/12. For the other fraction, though, we have to change that 3 into a 12. In order to change a 3 into a 12, you are going to multiply it by 4. And if you multiply the bottom number by 4, you have to multiply the top number by 4. 2 times 4 is going to give you 8, and that will be your new numerator. 10/12 minus 8/12 gives me 2/12. However, 2/12 can be simplified. We can divide 2 and 12 by 2, which gives me my final answer of 1/6. So then we just look over here for the fraction that represents 1/6. So this is 1 is cut into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. So this is a 1/6, and only 1 is shaded. That should be my answer. Moving on to number 10. It says Mr. Edwards bought a 50-pound bag of flour for his bakery. It was divided equally among 6 days. How much flour was used per day? So we have 50 divided by 6. There are a couple of ways we can do this problem. The way that I would prefer to do this problem involves graph paper. So for this problem, we're going to set up our long division. We'll set it up as 50 divided by 60, or divided by 6. And we're going to just do this problem like we normally would. We would say that 6 does not go into 5 at all. It goes in 0 times. 0 times 6 is 0. We subtract that here. Then we move on to the next number, carry down, oh, that should not be a 0. 5 minus 0 should be 5. Then we're going to carry down this 0. So we have 50, and we need to see how many times 6 goes into 50. 6 times, I'll skip ahead, 6 times 5 will be 30, that's not big enough. 6 times 6 is 36, not big enough. 6 times 7 is 42, that's not big enough. 6 times 8 is 48, that's close. 6 times 9 is 54, so that's too big. So it's going to be 6 times 8 is what we're going to use. 6 times 8 gives us 48, which we subtract. And it gives me 2 left over after doing some borrowing up here. So we have 2 left over, and we have 8 that worked whole, and we're still dividing by 6. Here is how we're going to put this together as a fraction. This number up here, this is my new whole number. So 8 is my new whole number. The number that I was dividing by, this 6, is going to belong down here because we are still dividing by 6. And my remainder is going to become my numerator. So my remainder, 2, becomes my numerator. That is my new fraction. However, 8 and 2/6 is not an answer choice. That is because you can simplify 2 over 6. 2 and 6 are both divisible by 2, so I will divide both of them by 2, which gives me my new final answer to be 8 and 1/3. This is the final answer for number 10. For number 11, it says a rectangular room. My camera's a little bit fuzzy. Let me see if I can focus it. That's a little bit better. A rectangular room is 12.5 feet long and 10 and, it's hard to see, but it says 1/3, 10 and 1/3 feet wide. What is the area of the room? So this is something we're actually currently working on this second week of school, finding area. For this, to find area, you are just going to do base times height or length times width. So we're going to multiply 12 and 1/2 and 10 and 1/3. My advice is to always change these into improper fractions before multiplying. So 12.5, if I take this and turn it into a mixed improper fraction from a mixed number, I would do the big number times the bottom number, so 12 times 2, which is 24, and I would add that to the top number. So 24 plus 1 is 25. So we have 25 over 2 times, we have 10 and 1/3, so we take the big number, 10, multiply it by the bottom number, 10 times 3 gives me 30, add it to the 1, so that's 30 plus 1 gives me 31. And that is all over 3. From here, you're just going to multiply straight across, 25 times 31 and 2 times 3. 2 times 3, start with the easy one, is 6. 25 times 31, I'm going to grab my graph paper again, so that way we can work that out. That is 25 times 31. So 25 times 31. We'll set up our standard algorithm, and we will do 1 times everything above it. So 1 times 5 gives me 5. 1 times 2 gives me 2. I am now done with this number, so I'm going to cross it out, and I'm going to cross out the box below the number as well, because we are not using that space anymore. I'm then going to move on to the other number, this 3, and I will do 3 times 5 and 3 times 2. 3 times 5 gives me 15, so I write my 5 and carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And I have no more numbers to multiply. So I'm just going to add these numbers down here. 5 plus nothing is going to give me 5. 2 plus 5 is going to give me 7. And 7 plus nothing is going to give me 7. So my answer to the multiplication was 775. Now we have to simplify by dividing 775 by 6. So 775 divided by 6. To do this problem, we will say 6 goes into 7. I would say 1 time. 1 times 6 gives me 6. We'll subtract this. 7 minus 6 gives me 1. And we're done with that part. I'll switch colored pens. We're going to carry down this 7. And we have 6 goes into 17, I would say 2 times. Not 3 times. 3 times 6 would be 18, which is too big. 6 times 2, however, is only 12. We'll subtract this. 17 minus 12 gives me 5. Done with that part. Going to switch colors one more time. We'll carry down this 5. And 6 goes into 55. We're going to say 9 times. 9 times 6 gives me 54, which we subtract, and gives me a remainder of 1. If you remember back to, I think it was problem 10, we're going to use this number up top as our whole number. We're going to use this number as our denominator, and we will use this number as my numerator. My final answer is 129 and 1/6, which is D, 129 and 1/6. The last problem says Trisha bought a carton of orange juice. She drank 1/3 of the carton on Monday and 5/12 of the carton on Tuesday. What fraction of the carton did she drink? So this problem is going to be an addition of fraction problem. We need a common denominator because right now 1/3 and 5/12, those are not common denominators. Lucky for us, we already found a common denominator between 3 and 12. It's 12. And we already know what we have to do to the 3 in order to change it to a 12. We have to multiply everything by 4. So 1/3, 1 times 4 gives me 4. 3 times 4 gives me 12. We also know that this fraction does not need to change at all. Stays 5/12. 4 plus 5 gives me 9, and my denominator does not change. Oop, I just said it doesn't change, and here I go writing the wrong number. So we have 9/12. 9/12 is not an answer choice because this can be simplified. Both 9 and 12 can be divided by 3. When you do 9 divided by 3, you get 3, and 12 divided by 3, you get 4. 3/4 is the correct answer for number 12. We'll go over 4 more problems tomorrow.